Hello students, let us understand mechanism of electrolysis. Now to understand the mechanism of electrolysis, let us take the example of molten sodium chloride. We know that the electrolyte must be in molten or aqueous state so that it will have mobile ions and it will conduct electricity. So that is the basic requirement. Now, on heating strongly, this sodium chloride dissociates and ions will set free, right? So the positively charged ions are called cations and negatively charged ions are called anions. So here for dissociation, what we have to do is we are strongly heating and bringing it to its molten state. Now sodium chloride dissociates in the molten state. When we will bring it will dissociate into sodium ion and chloride ions, right? Now these oppositely charged ions are attracted to one another and the electrolyte molecules are formed, and that is called dissociation. See what happens when you are heating it. See, dissociation takes place, Na plus and Cl minus ions. You are right now not connecting the battery, the circuit is not complete. So continuously association, dissociation takes place, right? So separation of ions and association of ions. So continuous association, dissociation takes place. Therefore, electrolytic dissociation is a reversible process. So when the circuit is closed here and positive ions are attracted towards cathode. So this is cathode and here we have molten NaCl, so sodium chloride and sodium ions and chloride ions. So as soon as circuit is complete, all positively charged ions, those cations, will get attracted towards cathode. So here at cathode what will happen, all positively charged ions will move, that is say sodium ions are moving, okay, at cathode, and all negatively charged ions, that is anions, will move towards anode. So here cations will get attracted towards cathode Cc and anions will get attracted to anode Aa, that you have to remember. Now Na plus here and here chloride ions will move, right? So what will happen, we know that anions are attracted towards this. So here as cations cations have, they are electron deficient. Na plus means one electron is less than the normal atom. So cations are electron deficient and that is why they take up the electron from cathode. So what happens, electrons it will gain and it will be converted into normal or neutral atom. So what happens, always we have to remember at cathode red cat. Red cat means reduction at cathode, always and always. Gain of electrons takes place. Reduction means gain of electrons. So always, as you know that cathode is a reducing electrode, so here reduction takes place. And anions always having excess of electrons, right? So as anions are having excess of electron, they will lose electron and they will be converted into neutral atom. But sorry, this Cl will not exist as single atom. This Cl will combine with another Cl and will form chlorine molecule, right? So here chlorine gas is liberating at anode. We'll see chlorine gas liberates at anode, and here on cathode sodium, a silvery white metal, will get deposited on cathode. And here always we'll say at anode NOx. Remember NOx. Why we say that? Oxidation at anode. Always and always oxidation takes place at anode. Now what could be the overall reaction? Let us see here. Sodium chloride NaCl in the molten state, when we are passing electric current, it will break down into sodium and chlorine. And here 2NaCl will say, so 2Na plus Cl2. So here we will see a silvery white deposit of sodium is there, and here greenish yellow gas chlorine liberates at anode. So always the equilibrium is maintained. See, one sodium ion will gain one electron and one chloride ion will lose one electron. So here from here one chloride ion loses electron, the same electron will be gained by sodium ion. So one will lose, one will gain, and always an equilibrium is maintained. So this is the shortcut to remember red cat and NOx, so to avoid confusion. Okay, so this is the final overall reaction. So this we can also say these both of them are the example of electrometallurgy, extraction of metals from the compound by passing an electric current. Now let us understand the theory of electrolytic dissociation. So here, to understand theory of electrolytic dissociation, we will understand the postulates of this, right? So this theory of electrolytic dissociation, first time this was explained by Arrhenius, explained by the chemist Arrhenius in 1887, right? And the postulates are an electrolyte on dissolving in water it will dissociate. So dissociates into ions. So these ions are cations and anions. So positively charged, it will dissociate into cations, which are positively charged ions, and anions, which are negatively charged ions. And this allows the flow of current, right? Electric current, because of the presence of these ions. The degree of dissociation. Next postulate is the degree of dissociation. Now when we are talking about the degree of dissociation, what is this degree of dissociation? It is the extent to which an electrolyte dissociates into ions. Here in the last video we have understood strong electrolyte and the weak electrolyte. So strong electrolyte degree of dissociation is very high, and weak electrolyte degree of dissociation is very less. Now the third postulate is the movement of ions. The movement of ions is responsible for the flow of current. And conductivity of the solution depends on the concentration of ions. Conductivity depends on the concentration of ions in the electrolyte. Next postulate is here always the number of positively charged ions, okay, positively charged ions are equal to the number of negatively charged ions. In the solution or in the electrolyte, we can say. And the solution is in, and then we can say that, and this solution is in electrolytic equilibrium. As I told you that always the equilibrium maintains between, see, the equilibrium is always established between the ions and the unionized molecules, right? So these are the postulates of electrolytic dissociation. Now the another example of electrolysis we will take, electrolysis of molten lead bromide. Now in this electrolysis of molten lead bromide, this is a crucible, okay, and this crucible, this is whole complete electrolytic cell, and in this cell is made up of silica. So here this crucible is made up of silica. Why it is made up of silica? There is a special reason behind that. It is non-reactive, it is non-reactive and non-reactive, non-conductor of electricity, and withstands high temperature, and withstand high temperature. And that is why we are taking silica crucible. Now the electrolyte present in this is molten lead bromide. We are taking molten lead bromide, and it melts at 380 degrees Celsius temperature, and that is why we have to take silica crucible, so it can withstand high temperature. Now both the electrodes are made up of graphite. Inert electrodes are used. Inert electrodes are used so that they do not react. Both anode and cathode are made up of graphite. Graphite is an inert which will not take part in the reaction. Now let us understand what is happening over here. So here, dissociation of lead bromide. So first we are taking here in the crucible molten lead bromides, we are taking lead bromide and heating it very strongly, so it will melt and dissociation takes place. So PbBr2 in the molten state will first dissociate into ions, cation, lead ions and bromide ions, cations and anions, right? Now here at cathode what will happen? Again let us remember, it is red cat. Red cat means reduction at cathode, as cations are always electron deficient. So all lead ions will move towards here cathode. Pb2 plus ions will move towards cathode. So all these lead ions are electron deficient. They will gain 2 electrons and will convert into Pb. And this Pb is silvery white deposit of Pb is seen on this cathode we will. Okay. So here lead is silvery white. This observation we have to remember. So silvery white deposit of lead is seen on cathode. Now at anode what happens? All these bromide ions will move towards anode once this whole circuit should be complete, okay, closed. So all these bromide ions, when they move towards anode, always oxidation takes place. So always remember NOx, oxidation at anode. They will lose electrons, as 2 bromide ions will lose 2 electrons and we will get bromine vapors. So here at anode we will see bromine vapors are liberating, which are reddish brown in color. So reddish brown bromine vapors are seen. Reddish brown vapors, right? We can write in 2 step also, and we can write in 1 step also this way reaction. And now the overall reaction is PbBr2 in the molten state, okay, when passing electric current, okay, we get Pb plus Br2. So in this way we can extract metal by electrolysis process. Now one more point is there, why is graphite anode preferred to other inert electrodes such as platinum? So here, as graphite is unaffected by the reactive bromine vapors, reactive vapors of bromine. Thank you, students.